Oh, it's live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long has that been up? I swear.
Oh, hey, you.
No one said it. Oh, Wally's doing a thing.
I forgot
You're being
what we were
ridiculous.
doing. No, I forgot what we were doing for a second.
Buffering.
Yeah.
Buffering.
I'm
It's
having
a
the hardest.
Monday.
I'm having the hardest time mentally lately forming thoughts. So welcome to the Wally Show Precast and streaming live on Facebook there, as you could see if you're watching it
And
by
YouTube, as Zach likes to point
Yes,
out.
on YouTube,
He's
too.
like, did you hear the new thing? It's YouTube. Yes, Zach, we know what YouTube
is fantastic.
You know,
Look, the average watch time on Facebook is a minute, and on YouTube it's 12 minutes.
He's
Wow.
on a
So
kick.
people watch much longer there.
Nice.
It's a good deal.
Well, I'm glad they're watching. They're getting their money's worth because it's
Yes.
free. All right, so let's get some birthdays done here. Matthew says, I'm 18 and I like Broadway shows. That's how I read the email. I don't know if that's what he meant, but there was a semicolon, parentheses, a smiley face. So I think that's how he meant it.
Maybe.
So happy
I'll go with
birthday,
that.
Matthew. Zach, what is something that Zach would like to do less than go to a Broadway show? Is there anything on the planet that you would enjoy less than going to a Broadway show?
I actually wouldn't go into a Broadway show. I've never
Really?
been.
Oh my goodness, it's fabulous.
I know. Like, I would go to see, like, the technical aspects of it. I'd be interested.
It's really
so,
cool.
Oh my goodness, the things they do, you're like, what?
The pageantry alone.
Oh,
Yeah.
I saw Mary Poppins, and like they dismantled the room and put it back together
Yeah.
with
And-
magic.
yes. I do actually. When I go, I spend a lot of time watching the technical side of things and how they're transitioning set pieces and all of the production value because I love that stuff. And they on Broadway in New York, they do it fantastic. And I could see you liking that. You'd have to go to a show that you kind of like though. What would be a good Broadway show for Zach?
Ooh, something musical. Oh,
Curmudgeon the musical.
yes.
Yeah, he would like that.
No, I was thinking like was Music Man ever on Broadway?
It was at one time.
I feel like you would like
I
that.
saw
it's,
Aladdin, which is your favorite
Yeah?
Disney
Oh,
cartoon.
And they fly around. I would like that.
They
Okay.
were on a magic carpet. Zach, get this. It was two people, and there were
Okay.
no fans. There were no strings. It literally floated. And I even asked the people that were over the theater, I said, how did that happen? And they were jerks. And they said, it's magic.
It is magic. It
Tell
is.
me.
Mary Poppins flew over my head. Over my head.
Yeah, they're not going to
That's
tell
crazy.
you how they do the secret. They're not going to do like Zach and reveal a couple magic tricks to you that he knows.
Well, because they don't know that you're going to forget it in about a day.
I
anyway.
know. That is funny. We
Maybe
always-
they did tell you how they did it.
And you
just
already forgot. Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, no.
Uh,
I looked for
Sorry
strings.
for having
I looked for
having the
fans.
thought of a child and just being amused and amazed by everything.
I will tell you this though, where I went, Wally would be fine in this predicament, but the chairs were so close, like your
Oh.
knees are
Oh,
like
yeah.
hitting the back of the person in front of
Right.
you. It is they like squeeze.
The theaters in
everybody
New York are old. I mean, a lot of them from the 20s and things like that. And so they have these tiny little rows.
They were built for when people were your size.
Yes, exactly. And then when you sit in there, and then there's inevitably that at least during Broadway shows, it's not like being at a football game. People aren't getting up and going to the bathroom during the show, which is nice. It's actually a better class of people.
No, it's because you don't want to leave.
Yeah, but it's just like when they're one long row. So during intermission, though, it's like everyone just makes a mass exodus, and you got to get out of the way. And they're really steep too, like the
Yes.
balconies
one
and
wrong
stuff.
move and you're going down.
Mhm.
Just don't drink anything all day and you'll be okay. By the way, on Facebook Live, Joshua says Wally's hair and beard is looking lit.
Lit! Oh my goodness! Thank you. You just lit the discussion because then that will just trigger everyone to go, no, he's a troll. He's hideous. Harry and the Hendersons. He looks like the back end of a
Just
northbound
accept the
schnauzer.
compliment.
Yeah.
I have a friend that met you recently, and they're like, is he trying to do like a mirror image on the top and the bottom? Like, it looks like, those pictures of mountains with lakes, and the reflection looks exactly, that's what you're
Both the
doing.
peaks.
That's funny.
Like, we can flip your head upside down, and it would look exactly the
Now
same.
I'm trying to
That's
figure
true.
out which friend of yours that I don't like now.
Man, I remember sitting in the orthodontist chair and like looking at their eye because they had the mask on, and so it was like their eyes and then their eyebrows were their mustache. Did you ever
Yes, yeah.
do that? That is the creepiest
No.
thing.
The
Hey.
last time I went to the dentist,
Was
which
it that
a long
hack
time
guitar
ago,
player at your church?
No.
Okay, sorry. That guitar player is great, by the way.
He is.
They gave me some sleeping medicine,
Oh,
and I remember the dentist like laughing slowly, like he was like, "Oh, oh." It was really weird.
I'm
And
sure
I looked
that happened.
outside. No, it really. Well, he didn't. Yes, but in my mind, he did. And then the trees were like swaying like this. It was amazing. It was lots of fun.
I know.
Going back.
I know Zach hates to talk about dreams, but I had a weird dream last night that really I hated. But then Becca loves dreams. I want to talk about this for a second. So I dreamed that Haley and I were on this overpass, and Haley's
she's
my
getting
daughter.
ready to jump and fly away.
Well, what happened is it was really narrow. And you know how I always mess around, like I'm gonna fall off or whatever, or like normally I would like grab her and pretend to throw her off, but I didn't do that because it was so narrow and it was so dangerous. And she was running, and then she like stood there for a second, and I'm like, baby, don't mess around. And she goes, look, and pretended, and then she fell. And as I watched her plummet off of this thing into the freeway below, I see this car coming, and then she ends up, the car gets there right at the right time, and she lands face down on the hood, and on the roof of the car, and I woke up, and it just startled me, and I was so like traumatized in this moment, and I'm like, okay, you have to like, I had to reinvent the end of the dream while I was awake
told you that
to make
tip.
it happy. Oh,
Yeah.
it was horrible. I
Wait,
had to
but
do
she
that.
was fine because the car caught her.
Well, no,
right?
I didn't see that. Like, I couldn't
okay.
tell when I woke up. I don't know if she lived or died. And so I was literally, like, I had to tell myself that it was okay that she walked away. I finished the dream while I was awake just to be okay.
Do you know what that dream is about?
I have no idea.
Okay, so the overpass represents the house like the family structure you've provided her
Okay.
her whole life, and she's about to go off into the wild.
Yeah.
And she is going to leave the safety and protection that you have provided, and she's going to go into the great unknown,
Yes.
Yeah.
which is a plummet down into the valley. But that car that caught her is a signal of God's protection.
Oh, wow.
Or a man.
And it showed up at
that?
the perfect time and caught her and protected her.
And
from
you
harm.
hate dreams. Like, we could do a new thing.
Because I know what they all mean.
Zach, dream explainer.
Okay, I
Like-
got one. I was on the train.
Your
and
dreams are
there's-
crazy, though. I don't know.
And there's a room at the back of the train, and it was like Pandora's box. And every time you went into it, something really, really good would happen to you, or something really, really bad. And it was a really long train ride, so you had to go into the room multiple times. And every time I'd go into the room, something bad would happen. Like I'd have to run sprints a bunch, or one time I went in and it was just really, really hot. But I kept going in because I wanted something to be good in the room.
And no
Yeah.
good keeps happening in your life. That one's obvious.
That represents this journey over the last year with Joey, and you have to keep going back in the hospital, and over. It's bad things are happening,
This is
but you're bound to have a good
amazing.
thing happen sooner or later.
You know, I can tell
not have
you're
to keep going
making
back. That is
up
amazing.
stuff right on the whim, but still I'm amazed.
Do you have a
by
dream?
it. I do, but I can't think of any.
Do you know what we're gonna
I have 'em
do?
all the time,
Because
but
we used to do a segment called Silver Lining where Zach would find the good in people's bad because he's like the eternal optimist. I think we're going to do Zach Dream Explainer. I could see him doing well at this. We might have to do that tomorrow.
And play a harp the whole time.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I
Oh,
will.
yes.
Okay. So somebody's job. Who wants to find the harp music for tomorrow?
I'll find it.
Okay.
Oh, do you want to
Oh,
find it?
look
Wow.
at that!
She's
Betty's like, it was my idea.
I'm sorry.
No,
you can find
no,
it. You can
totally
find
fine.
it.
No,
You got it. No,
please.
no,
If
I
it's
don't
work,
wanna do
take
it, no.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
wait.
please.
Zach Dream
Do you know what that
Explainer.
harp music represents?
Oh my goodness.
I think we'll probably do this bit once. On a serious note, though, this was something my wife told me years ago that I kind of lived with all of these years. Not in fear, because I don't live my life in fear. But my wife told me one time when she was little, she said, I had a dream that we don't have Haley anymore, and we don't have her. I don't see her ever being a teenager. And like she had this fear of that. And it was like manifesting itself like in her dreams. And so like as she was growing up year after year after year, there was that subtle thing in the back of my mind, like when, if we ever didn't hear back from her because she was driving home or whatever, I would have this fear that this was it. This was the thing my wife felt when Haley was like 3. And it was just like, it was nerve wracking. But then I had to realize you can't live your life in that fear. Like you can't, that fear will hold you and cripple you, and you have to take the good and the bad going into that box there and roll with it however you get it, and know that God is still good in the middle even of our bad.
There's a long time where I was seriously convinced that Joey was going to die in a plane crash.
Oh,
like,
really?
Like when we were engaged, it like kept me up at night, like woke up in sweats, like just terrified and have the dream over and over again. But then, what made him sick is just, some indigestion in the night. So you just, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. I got another
Not
birthday
really
here.
sick by indigestion, but anyway.
Let me see. Hey, it's my birthday today. I'll be 19. So happy birthday to you, Megan. My question is, do you like gummy bears or gummy worms? Easy. Gummy bears, yes, 100%. Unless
They're the same.
no, it's
No,
different.
no.
Yes, they are. They're
You're
the same.
crazy.
No, unless you want something that's sour. Then I'll eat the sour gummy worms. I don't like sour gummy bears. I like the sour
Gummy worms or something. You said bears are better?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely the worms.
Really? How can you feel that way? That's ridiculous.
They're just more interesting.
You know what I loved though, like, and I remember having them in Sunday school, but they have them in like preschools and stuff where it's like the chocolate pudding and something else.
yes.
And
Yes,
the
the-
gummy worms.
Yes,
Yeah.
like the dirt pie
Yeah.
or whatever.
I don't know why that was like my
It's so
favorite
great.
thing. It was so
Yeah.
great.
And
And
Cool
bears
Whip.
are more of a choking hazard, whereas
Mm.
the worms
Yeah.
are not.
I got
Maybe
the other
you should learn to eat.
the other no it could happen to adults too. Remember the other day I'm walking by the copier back towards Betty's office. I'm like, just swallowed a gummy bear because I don't eat them one at a time. I put a whole mouthful in. It looks like I'm chewing tobacco. I got a whole bunch of them in my
That's
mouth.
really gross.
Yeah, and one stuck out, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're good. We're good. It slid down. I did take that the gummy bear sugar-free gummy bear challenge,
Mm,
and I had a couple handfuls of those and came out fine.
Yeah, I
came
think
out fine.
that batch is okay.
I think you have to eat the whole bag. Like if you eat the whole bag in
Well,
one sitting,
And
then
that's
you'll
a
be
different
sitting.
brand than the Amazon ones with the reviews. These are German,
Mm.
and who knows what the bag says.
Yeah, the German stuff is really, really, really good. All right, we got a story that we did not get to during the show today,
Yes.
and it's a news story from Burger.
Yeah, I think this is every radio personality's worst nightmare, accidentally leaving the mic on and then
Oh.
saying something that everyone hears. So there was an Australian radio host that left his mic on, and he introduced the weather guy and thought that he was done. But then the weather guy started talking, and you can hear this host mocking him. It's pretty terrible.
Good morning, Kana.
Good morning.
Pleasant day on the way by the looks of things.
That's right. More milder conditions continuing for the rest of the week.
Oh, very, very good.
Sorry?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sorry, Kana. No, you there?
Yeah, so for today, mostly light showers in the east and find, inland.
At the end there, he's asking his producer, that didn't go out today.
That is
Whoopsie-daisies.
a really boring radio show for the record.
yeah,
but,
seriously.
but I totally get that. Like I have totally done that. Like left mics open before. We were having a conversation one time about something on the show recently. And I hadn't left mics open by accident in years. And I remember we had that, and there was this terror.
Yeah, what did we say?
I remember what it
for
was.
King of Country was in here, right?
Yeah, and it was you guys complaining about not going on the Alaska
Yes,
cruise.
that's what it was.
And Becca was
That's
still going
right.
nuts about why don't we all get to go? And
I was being mean.
yeah, and so and then I look over and I used to do this. I would play with everyone on the show. I'd be like, oh, and I'd pretend to grab the mics. And this time when I did it, I was legit. I'm like, oh my gosh! And we had to wait until we record the show too. So we had to wait till the skimmer would release that section of audio so that we could listen to it. And thank the Lord none of that went out because our bosses would have been upset, really upset about that
Well,
one.
maybe
'cause
they should bring me on the cruise.
There it is. Well, not even a mic left open. There it is. Fantastic. I'll send that to F Dice, Farron Dice.
Meh.
That's his email.
Yes.
All right.
Good story.
Yeah, thanks. All right, so you know what I was saying about that Australian show stinking? Maybe they're not that bad after all.
Very, very good.
Yeah. Oh, that's the worst, making fun of somebody like that and getting busted.
Go ahead.
I think we're going to say the
Yep.
same thing.
Joshua
asked,
What?
how was Betty's vacation day to the flea market?
Oh, Joshua, it was great. I went with a really good friend of mine, her and her son, and she got some really cute. They're doors for a cabinet. So it's like wood, but it has like a little knob in the middle of it. So I
Right.
think she's gonna repaint it. Maybe use some like sandpaper to rough it up a little
Yeah,
bit.
distress it, upcycle it.
And then I got a little Snoopy pillow.
I
So that was
I did okay now because I went the next day after
Right.
you went. Did you see the guy that had because you collect little woodland creatures? Did you
Yes.
see the guy that had the copper woodland creatures
yes.
on the far side? He was from
Yes.
Africa. He's from Guinea. Or,
Oh,
I think that's what he
I
said.
don't know. I don't talk to people like you do. You like
Yes.
to talk to anybody and everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. Where are you from?
Well, I got his whole story. Like he was this great guy, and he was the exact reason of why I love Africa so much. So kind and so nice, and we talked about all the different places and the places that we're going this year and stuff. And I started to buy you a little woodland cheetah, and he was about like this big.
A cheetah is not
that
a woodland
what?
creature.
Or not a woodland creature,
It's
an African creature. Yes,
creature.
exactly. And well, I thought it was a cat first, and then it turns out to be a cheetah. He's not the greatest artist, that guy.
That's correct.
Yeah, still a cat,
Mhm.
but hard to tell. And so, but then Marty was like, she was here yesterday. I'm sure she found these.
Yeah, I did. I didn't get anything because I didn't see anything that I wanted. But did you see the Amish people that make those soaps and they smell to high heaven?
Yes,
They're terrible.
not the
Why
soaps,
is-
not the Amish people.
No,
Let me
but
clarify.
Yeah, the soaps. They smell
Trust
to
me,
high
there's no
heaven.
Amish people listening to the podcast or streaming Facebook Live.
Oh, that's
You're
right.
safe.
That's right. I don't ever want to
They're
offend
so
the Amish with
terrible,
our
but you know
technology.
those soaps that are made of like goat's milk and stuff, and they make the oils in them so strong. It's like,
Yeah.
who would want to bathe with that? It smells terrible.
That's the best thing. Like, yeah, you talk about kidding around with people making fun of them. At least you could always do that on a radio show with the Amish. They could always be your go-to joke because they're never going to be offended because they're never gonna hear it.
Or the deaf. Sorry, is that bad?
Oh,
That is
That's
wrong.
terrible. No.
Strike that from the
Zach,
record.
Oh.
I have thought that
email
before,
him.
though. I have
Email
had those thoughts
him.
before, though. You could,
Don't
if you said
email.
something about deaf people, they wouldn't complain.
Okay, real quick.
Is that wrong?
If
No,
you're
no,
streaming
no,
this
no,
right
no.
now, if you're streaming this on Facebook Live,
Are you?
you see
Why-
my face?
Wait, why is it okay to make fun of the Amish?
Never, because it's totally different.
It's
the Amish,
not totally
Okay,
different.
because
You're
be-
making fun of someone's
Because if someone is
faith.
hearing impaired, there's going to be some angry mom who's going to be angry emailing us today. That's
There might
why.
be someone who has Amish in their family that's angry.
No, it's different because either you're
And
Amish
we were saying
or you're
people you
not.
shouldn't make
and
fun
you can change being Amish. Like
Yeah.
if you don't want to be Amish,
You can just
And-
change your faith
yeah, you can not be
to
Amish
make
anymore.
society happy.
Yes,
And
exactly.
maybe-
Interesting.
Maybe there's a
You could
program
plug
that,
in a blender and be fine with Amish.
What?
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay,
I
we
don't
are
know.
getting some good angry faces.
Yeah, and they should be. Honestly,
I
like
get that.
when I make this face, like,
Oh, it's mostly wild faces though.
that's a bad thing if I make that face. Like if I'm shocked, then it's like, oh yeah, you crossed the line.
Someone said they can read a
Closed
Closed
caption on the
captions.
YouTube. That's right.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes YouTube will automatically generate those, and sometimes it messes up. And someone emailed us, "Hey, I think they were deaf, and so they watch our videos with that." And they sent me a Brit Nicole interview where she's like dropping the F-bomb and stuff.
What?
And they're like, "You might want to go in, and this is how you can edit it, and blah blah blah." Like it had misinterpreted what she said.
Wow.
Oh, that was
I
was
nice. What
like,
was she
oh, man.
saying? It's so much fun.
No, it's
Like-
nothing really. Like it just guesses. Like it's like 85% accurate.
Well,
But
there
it
have been
messes
times
up.
we've said stuff on the air that wasn't even close to a bad
Right.
word or whatever, but then people are like, "I heard Becca swear."
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's
No.
always fun. That's always fun. We didn't really dive into the Oscars too much today. We did a little bit during the least of these. Betty didn't see it, but Zach and Becca, you guys watched a little bit of that,
I
right?
did. I watched most of it, and then I caught up on some videos this morning.
Yeah, like I watched it. It wasn't heavily political, like, but it definitely was, definitely a slant, taking shots at Trump and what's his name, Kimmel hosting it, did the whole thing with referring back to one of Trump's tweets about Meryl Streep being overrated,
I
and
thought
he
that
did
was
a
kind
thing.
of funny because
It
the
was
entire
funny.
night he was like, "No, not you. You're overrated."
Yeah.
I was like, "That's kind of a fun way to play it." Like,
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job. I was telling Becca this morning, I'm like, you see all the news stories and you see how angry people are and, still protesting and stuff. And it's weird because you can live in a bubble or whatever, but like my world isn't like that. I have friends that are very diametrically opposed on the election, but none of them are out picketing.
Well,
Like
you're
they're
not
all
on-
normal people.
Yeah,
you
you're not
know?
on social media because there are people that I respected before the election. That sounds terrible, but they just got angry with their posts and just
Right.
relentless with things. Like that changed my view on a lot of people for sure.
I just think that I'm what I'm trying to wrestle with is, again, I know mine is like my own little microcosm, but I'm trying to wrestle with, is it really as widespread as like the media reports, because they want to sell that story and they want to get Trump out. And again, I'm not lobbying for Trump by any stretch of the imagination. But what I'm saying is it really as bad as it is, as it seems like it is being reported? And then Hollywood always makes a big deal out of it. And then you got the news making a big deal. I've never seen a protest yet anywhere that I live, and I know we're not in a big metropolis.
And we're
it's
also in a
Nashville.
very, very conservative state as well.
No, I think your reality is determined by like the friends around you and largely your Facebook feed. And so if Facebook is showing you constantly people being upset, that's what you believe to
You
be
start
real.
to think that's real, but
Mhm.
like, is it 50,000 people that constantly show up and are protesting at different things, or is it 10 million people that are upset? Like I have no idea because I don't feel it, and I shut it down too. Like I did get sick of just the constant story after story after story after story of arguing, and I finally was like, I'm just done with that. I want that out of my life, and so I fly through them, and I don't even spend time looking at the Trump bashing from CNN or what have you. But the problem is, I say it's Trump bashing. And when they have a legitimate thing, because they've done things so slanted, I don't give credence to their legitimate thing because I've just thrown it all out now because I just don't even care at this point.
I have a friend who is very outspoken on Facebook and very just angry about things or polarized, just very opinionated. And he said, he posted just yesterday, people were saying, hey, you're going to lose friends over this. You need to dial it back. And he was like, well, if I believe the things I'm arguing for are true, I'm afraid of refugees not, being turned away, not being able to save their lives, kids not having food to eat at school. Like, if I'm really afraid of those and think those are real, I need to value that more than my friends.
Right.
And like, if I lose a couple of friends for the sake of something that I believe is a good cause.
Right.
So I see what he's saying, but I think that doesn't give you an excuse to not act in love.
Yeah, that's it. Speak the truth in love. Like, you can definitely stand your ground and you can have your opinion, but it's how you do it. I think Kimmel actually addressed that last night during the Academy or during the Oscars. He was like, you know what? If we all just went and talked to 10 people that were different
didn't
than
agree
us.
with, yeah.
Yeah, and if we just did that, maybe it might shape our world a little differently. It would shape our own perspective a little bit differently, because it's easy to hate the person yelling just as loud as you are, but when you sit in a room and you talk to somebody and you learn who they are and why they think like they do, it's harder to hate that person.
Yeah, and I've seen that argument used by other friends too, Zach, of like, well, I have to say something, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
But I just don't see that it does any good on social media. Everyone's like, you got to make a stand, and this is my way of doing something. But I just feel like if someone were to come up to me personally and say, hey, I care about this and this is why, like, how do you say no to that then, But when you just see it on Facebook, it just always seems so angry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't get to see people's hearts.
I don't know the reference, but somewhere in the Bible it talks about like, speak with love seasoned with salt,
Yes.
like salt being the truth, but it's
Right.
like an overwhelming portion of the love and then, truth in there. But it's not like a big bag of salt with a pinch of sugar.
We definitely tend to oversalt things, as in this church a lot of times and as a society, and I think that's great wisdom. And speaking of that, I cannot wait to salt my steak tonight. I'm so hungry.
You have a steak tonight?
I'm having a steak. Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah, I bought a steak yesterday, but I'm on this diet thing, and so it's working.
So it's fries and steak?
Yeah, no. Now the fry it was in effect on Wednesday. On Wednesdays I have a soda and fries. That's my thing. And I lost 4 pounds though. But I do find myself dreaming about like food. Like tonight, I'm gonna make a steak on the grill, and I'm not gonna have any of the other stuff with it. So it'll just be a steak. So that'll fit into my points that I'm doing and
Oh
stuff
my
like that.
goodness!
I know.
Stop talking. Every time you diet, it's like, and this has this many points, and this has this
I
many
know.
points, and this is.
I
this.
know.
Today I
you-
came in, I quietly ate my avocado on
Yep.
my bagel, and I didn't make a fuss about it.
You did tell us about it.
Yep.
Well, yes,
Oh,
you
that was
asked.
so
Best
good. My
bagel
You
toes
ever.
were-
asked about it.
Best
You
bagel
asked me
ever.
about
My
it.
husband weighs 150 pounds. I'm 20 pounds heavier. We all talk about our lives.
But I don't tell you how many points are in my bagel.
Yeah, but that's just my system, and it's actually working though. So
It
there you
doesn't
go.
bother me.
Thank you.
Y'all
That's
can talk
so
about your
annoying.
food.
Yeah. And now I hate her.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Let's
both
eat
turn on
her.
her. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, if you're ever like traveling and you're afraid of, your plane's gonna go down, and you have that horrible situation, you do not want Betty to be on your flight.
Why?
What's that?
Why?
Because there's not enough of you to go around.
Ew.
Yeah.
You're talking about cannibalism?
Yeah, that
That's
movie
nasty.
Alive. That was a really interesting movie though. Did you guys see that back in the day? The soccer
yeah.
team.
Yes,
Yeah.
Alive. Yeah.
Actually, it's disturbing in a lot of ways, but actually, I think it was a well done movie. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, of all the movies about cannibalism, it was
Yeah.
one of the best.
There are certain.
Disturbing.
What are shows you can't watch while you're eating dinner? Do you guys watch TV during dinner?
Yes.
Okay, because I always do too. I kind of was raised that way. When I was a kid, the console TVs.
Mhm.
Have you seen those? Not flat screens, a big old console
I still
TV.
have one.
Do you really?
Mhm.
And so that's what we would have, and it would have wheels on it. And we would roll it around, and we'd face the dining room, and we'd watch whatever TV show, and have dinner and watch TV.
Someone called that your the scripture that you were looking for,
Yes.
Zach. It's Colossians 4:6. Let your conversation be gracious and attractive so that you will have the right response for everyone. That's the NLT version, which is our official way of version.
Yes. Once again, Farron will be happy about that. Farron making the podcast twice today, our boss. All right, so I think, you know what, that's going to have to do it for the old precast here, and on with the podcast. Well, that's going to do it for today. Thank you for being a potty.